One West, 125th Street. Look, y'all put y'all faith in presidents like they gon' change this country. Run the league and let y'all play cause y'all gon' make a money. Fuck Obama, he ain't come here on cargo slave ship. What the fuck he do for blacks in his administration? I'm waiting, pacing like a saint. Black, Hispanic, Native, they hate your ass the same. Paint Christ in their image, paint you as a slave. God ain't all love, scriptures say he hate. African soul niggas, they know we not the same. School to prison pipeline to get you off the streets. Put you in the cell toilet connected to the sink. Molested as a kid, she prostituted as a teen. The byproduct of Martin Luther King dream. They just took the yoke off, my nigga, we ain't free. We living bleak in these wastelands of poverty. If you don't know the truth, then the lie sound promising. Prophecy, gift and the curse. Dylan started killing, they was sitting in church. Black folk forgave him, man, this shit is absurd. You should never love your enemy, that shit ain't gon' work. Yeah, fuck dying on your knees, you better die in glory. Man, I joined the UPK, taught me the art of warring. I took a nigga life like mine to be recognized. I feel that pain every day, it can't be reconciled. Pops banging, my sister a prostitute. My brother got life, and somehow I still found the truth. War ready, no cowards, no excuse. Fuck reparations, you can't bandage no open wounds. Blood on the leaves, body swing hung from a noose. I was on a run in Nashville and I found the truth. I called the school, classes being held by the shock on my life. I want to be a gangster like a cop. Do this for my brothers, real brotherhood. Everything we do, we got it out this book. My nigga, I can never be no African. UPK the only authorized acronym. I'm passionate about my brothers and sisters. We in hell, I ain't got nothing against them. That's another religion. If it ain't under your honor, ain't he murdered by them and got a hug from your honor. That's the way out for a coward in my observation. They don't fear the Lord, they indoctrinated. Wolves in sheep clothing, Joe Osteen. Real priests bringing back black royalty. One West on my headpiece, ranking order. Can't let them trick me off the streets, I gotta raise my daughter. I got brothers at the border ducking ICE agents. I got the name change, it was life changing. My family thought it was a game. Put on all black, they said I was going through a phase. It's more of us in jail than it was slaves. Chose by the Lord, we could never be the same. Soon as they born, the wicked go astray. They left the truth, they wasn't with us anyway. Niggas weak, they just saying anything to be truthful. We don't want no cowards anyway. Look, coronavirus, that's a plague. You don't get too much sleep when you waking up the dead. First camp, I cut off all my dreads. I took an oath when that oil hit my head. Niggas capping like they lids. I'm a priest, I never stick no fork in no pig. I was dead till I found out how to live. This brotherhood taught me how to be a man. I came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church. Came back to my roots, I had to dig. A couple gaps I had to bridge. I got a rib, I'm married to this work. You wanna serve the Lord, he ain't in the Christian church.
They killed, give me Isaiah 14 and 21. They did the same thing to my people. So you said that they put millions of my access. Yes, you said. Should a murderer go to jail for murdering? Absolutely. Should a thief go to jail when he steals? Absolutely. Should a robber pay back the money he robbed? Absolutely. So why shouldn't the white man pay for what he did? That's right. That's right. One day you'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a
I'm in a hell of a hole, was never expected to grow. Just Isupk sat in the road, that a result of me selling my soul. The story I'm telling is cold, but yet it's what everyone knows. The white man's the devil is known. America was never our home. Only a place of captivity, safe facility, hating, disfigure me. They claim that I'm lazy, be killing me. Maybe this slavery draining my energy. 400 years and counting. The trail of my tears is countless. The fact that I'm here is astounding, but I can't wait till this shit is surrounded. Ready to tangle my king and the angel, be ready to rap. Crack in the sky, nuclear missiles are making it official. I'm capturing every crack and surviving. Put them all in chains where they need to be. Slavery for me. And let the whole world see that with them in the cages, safer in the streets. Put the dog on a leash. Get resolved for the beast. 144, get the brutal show, we could all be at peace. As soon as the trumpets are sound, your kingdom we busting it down. The only way justice is found, the time for your judgment is now.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
Look, ain't no remorse in my blood slump. It won't be no compromise. Now it's time to feed the worms. Watch his body turn to flies. I clutch iron while you trust the lies. The next Glock I buy gon' be Gen 5. I get it customized. And sending shots off like farewell. Praying payback come back around like a carousel. Still remember your Honda's words ringing in my head like bells. Said you in his body, you fit the Lord, fuck the cartel. Triangle choke, apply pressure to the game like I did Vondale. Payback's a bitch in a dress, she a bombshell. Revenge is served cold, I just hope they make an oxtail. Glock fresh out the box, I swear it got that new car smell. Made myself a target in a world of mad shooters. There was design fire for our babies to pass through it. And the day of our king's reign, I'll be overzealous. They bought my jealous, I bought brand new parabellums.
You'll see just how it feels. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog. Payback is a dog. It's a dog.
All right, clap it up. Oh, we got glare. Keep falling. All right, we got the brother set up his camera. Hey, can y'all hear me?
Con out of one con, keep falling. Salakia.
No sweat. We should have seen our thing, our setup when we first started.
I'm gonna get it together.
We're gonna get this right one day. You got time? Go to law.
Con out of one.
You got a big family there, huh?
Con out of one.
Hey, most on Christ.
Clean that out of me.
Shalom, Yahweh Shem Yahshua Thumb to the brothers, Yahweh Shem Yahshua to the sisters. We are the Isupk, the Israelite School Universal Practical Knowledge, established in 1969, 1 West, 125th Street, Harlem, New York. We are led by Commanding General Yohana. We are not affiliated with any other organization. Israel, pay your tithes. Go to isupk.com right now, get that settled. Check into the school near you. UPKMKE is Isupk Milwaukee, Lashawan Qadash class, the Holy Tongue, the Hebrew language class, where we go over the Paleo and Assyrian Hebrew alphabets. We discuss some of the differences. Any questions, comments, or concerns on the topic, we can address here tonight. If we don't have a direct answer for you this evening, we can always get that for you on the next class. Now, you got to the young man in Sioux Falls there. So you got some of the emails. It looked like some of them went through. Did you get the alphabet? Did that part come through?
Con out of one con. I got it right here, printed off.
All right. Did you take a minute to practice it? This was your homework last week.
We didn't get that much time, but we did take the time to at least attempt to write it out.
All right. Everybody's we're doing the same thing tonight. So on some scrap paper, we'll let y'all get that set up so that we can kind of gauge your handwriting and your comfort level with it. We're gonna have brothers do it here in the school on the board as well. And then y'all can take turns presenting yours. And then we're going to recite them together too. Get a little bit more familiarity with it, see how it sounds, see how it feels. Again, this is something that's going to be kind of unfamiliar to us, so it might be a little awkward kind of getting into the step of it. We all struggled with this at first, all of us. The way we wrote it, the way we pronounced it. It's you know, some people catch on easier than others, and that's what makes excellent teachers, some of the brothers. So Lord allow you'll be teaching this class soon enough. But it's always going to be a bit of an uphill battle learning something that should be more more closer to our spirit, but culturally we were separated from it for a very long time. So
sir.
Good.
A young man, if you could turn the TV down in the background just a little bit.
Con out of one con, not a problem.
Are they still gonna be able to hear us? What up, young brother? What up there, young man? Good to see you in class.
Is that a little bit better? Should I turn it down a little bit more?
Mic check, mic check.
Yeah, that's the one.
Con out of one.
Right. Now, you'll have to forgive us. It looks like right about here, we've got a glare on the screen from the lights. So I don't know if you can make this out. Yeah, right there. There is stuff written right here, believe it or not. But and then off in the corner, that looks like that got raised too from the light. So we'll go over this. I'll bring this a little bit lower. What it says is
Sit up there. Go up there so I can look up.
that's a little bit better. So this is the Lashawan Qadash. For the most part, especially when we're learning how to pronounce it, we use English characters to express the phonetic value, to give it the pronunciation, because at least this is familiar to us, these letters, this system. So we'll use this to help understand how to pronounce it. So now a lot of times, especially I guess in the beginning, you're going to see a lot of like dots kind of in between some of the letters and some of the letters and some of the words. And that's going to be to express what gets pronounced singular and what gets pronounced together. Now, we'll just do a quick breakdown on this. So the holy tongue, Lashawan, is going to be one word, technically. La, when it comes before the word, this is going to be the preposition. You could also call it a prefix, but we try to, because that's not always the sense of the word or of the character, the letters that's here. But to give it a linear translation, this is going to be the. Salaki. I should let me step back from that for a second. That's not quite true. So, la, the prefix is normally going to be 2 or 4. Shawan is going to be tongue. Qadash is holy. Now you're going to notice this pattern. There's a step there. You're going to notice this pattern in the Hebrew where in English it would look like it's out of place. The way that we formulate it in Hebrew, when we translate it to English, it's going to look like it'd be backwards. Because we would say this is the holy tongue, but if you were to translate it parallel like that, it's going to be, the tongue holy. The tongue is holy. So that you're going to notice that pattern a lot of times when we start breaking down the scriptures, the prayers. The salute is going to be pretty straightforward. But you're going to find that pattern very common. As we very saw these. All right, Trooper, come on up. Let's get the Paleo first, and then we'll work on the Assyrian. No, the alphabet. Now, everybody's penmanship is going to be a little bit different. There's nothing to worry about there. If you just got rough penmanship, then you just got rough penmanship. You can always work on refining it. For the generations like this young man here, this trooper, his generation kind of lost out and I guess kind of lucked out in a sense on not having to learn cursive. So to have a standard of penmanship, doesn't really. It wasn't as pressing, in their day as it was in ours. If you have an artistic sense to you, then this might come a lot easier. It's lucky. Can y'all flip on that? Switches up. All right, let me turn this air. There we go. So that glare is cutting in a little bit on us. It's like, keep going. They've got the alphabet sheet in front of them too, so they know what order this is going to be expressed in. Try to fit this all in on one, huh? So far, it's looking good. Everybody's penmanship is going to be a little bit different. We seem to struggle a little bit more when it comes to the Assyrian dialect. Just because on the paper, you're going to notice that there's that script. You've got the script here. You've got the handwritten version down here of the Assyrian. You got the paleo up top. There is no modern, like how they do it here in the middle. There's no modernized version of this. So this is all, I mean, any example of it you're going to see is going to be pretty much handwritten. You know, on your computer, that font is going to look more like this. If you download the Hebrew alphabet on your keyboard on your phone, it's going to look quite a bit different. It's going to be very very rigid, just pretty much just lines. All right, so you got the paleo. Let's see the Assyrian. And again, whatever's going to be a comfort level for you, I extend that base on the bar just a little bit farther. That's better. Just make sure that it's noticeable. We do not use the dot and dash system. That is Yiddish. I can't remember the year that was adopted in, but if you look at all the source work for the original Hebrew language, they'll even say, they'll concede that this was a consonantal language. The vowel system was added later on. And that's because another culture coming into our identity, having to make sense of our alphabet, but with their dialect, with their culture. So Yiddish, I guess, became the term for our oppressors' superimposed language. But Yiddish is not Hebrew. If you can have a pretty fluid conversation with the Polish and the German, you are not speaking Hebrew. As you can see, I'm sure on the paper that you have, some of the similarities between certain characters. The ba, for example, the da, the ha, certain elements of these characters that you have to watch out for, because that's going to be what help you when you're actually reading it in the Torah. Now, Salaki. Remember, there's a couple characters that take on different forms, and I want you to start writing those side by side to the character that it goes with. Just to the ones that need to be changed. Yep. There we go. All right. So now what he's doing here, there are a number of characters, like this is just little out. There are a number of characters here that take on another form. So the characters here at the bottom in this bottom row, these bottom 5, they correspond to the character that's right above them. So again, these two are the same written language, just this is the script, the printed version that you're going to see computerized, and this is the handwritten version on the bottom. So if I'm pointing down here, they're both the same. They just might look a little bit different because, you know, one is handmade. But you're going to see there on the bottom, these characters, they take on a different form. They only take on this form at the end of the word to its corresponding character up above it. Those are going to be the forms that it take in the beginning or in the middle of the word. So when you're writing this out, what I would recommend, because there are some of the noticeable differences, or notable differences, I should say, is in the height difference. So imagine, if you will, you got like a lined piece of paper, and you're writing all of your characters in between those two lines. These are all going to be the same height. Until we get to right about here, this is where things start changing. They're all going to start off at the same height, but this is going to drop below that line. So if you were to look at it in the Torah, let me see if I can give you a close-up view. We'll see how close we can get it to the lock here. I don't know if this is going to work. How clear that is, actually. Lacom, can you pull up the blue letter? Let's just get Lamentations chapter. What is it? Lamentations chapter 3, verse 2. The Bar Yala, you okay? Are you sure? You want to sit up straight, please? Move your chair back. Bob shot. Appreciate you. The lesson's up here, brother. All right. So now if you could highlight, let's just look up and raw. All right. So now if you look at that word, it carries the la, well, it's got the ya in it, the la, and the ka. So that la starts off higher than the rest of the characters, but it ends at that same bottom line that everything else should. That ka starts off at the same top starting point, then it drops below. These are going to be little hints and little clues and measures to keep in mind when we're reading it in the Torah, because some of them are going to look very similar to one another. And unless you know their placement and some of those characteristics, it'll just be a little harder to, what's the word I'm looking for? To not just tell them apart, but to distinguish them. There we go. So now this should drop below too. All right, so now this is just to get brothers and sisters into the practice of writing it and now reciting it. So if you would, Trooper, recite what you wrote. And point to the characters. Walk along with it. Speak up. right, clap it up for the brother. All right, raise your works. Now, just a heads up for any young men, any troopers in the school, this is going to be this is going to be a focal point for you to advance your career. You're going to want to know how to read and write. You don't have to be as proficient if this isn't, I would say, some people just don't have a knack or a drive for it. If you can stand down, young man, come on up. Let's see your version of this. Everybody's handwriting is going to be different. That's okay. But at least we got to make sure that we're in the same ballpark as one another. If we have a right to each other, and if we wanted to make sure that we weren't being spied on, for example, this would be a good way of just of it not being as accessible to the public. And we can have a little bit more privacy with it. More important than that, this is our culture. And we don't have to do things like in the UPK, we don't do things in secret. The only things that aren't accessible to the public is councils that we might have. Individual, family, school councils. Well, all of our activities, all of our classes, it's readily available. You don't have to sign an NDA when you come in here. You just got to work on shedding yourself to that old man, that old woman. When it comes time for status service, you want to make sure that you got this locked in. Now, I would do your mouth more kind of close to that. There. Drop down to the next line. You been practicing or something? No, you practicing or something? I was going to say, it's looking a lot better than last week. Again, everybody's penmanship is going to be different. Practice, 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 practice. It ain't got to look the same as everybody else. It's just got to be legible. And work on your dimensions. Like the Qadash, that should be bigger. If you were to take like a grid, a paper, graph paper, that's what we call it. If you were to take graph paper, all of these characters, with the exception of a couple in the paleo, they're all going to occupy the same space. All of a sudden, you're getting small. Like your shot, yeah, got time. Even your rod got time. Yeah. All of these theoretically should occupy about the same space, with the exception of the ma and the na. Seeing in the I'll see if I can pull up an example of this. I don't know if I'll be able to do it today, but I got to dig for the well, it's not that hard to find. Look, see if you can find us some examples from the Dead Sea Scrolls. And from the Decalogue stone. Let's get one of those images pulled up too. And again, another major part of this with yeah, you got experimental with that. that I'm always going to keep on expressing and chiming in there with is that everybody's penmanship is going to be different. I would start off with the other arm. No, not physically your other arm, but the other. Yeah, because again, if you look up here, it's not neck to neck. Let me see the erase. I know you might see him kind of doing it like that. You know, he's going kind of wild with it, but you know, it's if you look up here, it's a lot more subtle than that. It's not. It could just be a straight line too, if that were easier for you. On the text version of it, I think this is what they do. So like, so y'all can see here too. On the text version, if you were to pull up the keyboard on your phone, it's pretty much just going to be. I think that's all they do. That glare is killing us. Yeah, I don't know if we can help that as much. Just try to keep this. Try to keep it a little bit more subtle. And a lot of this is going to be an expression of your character. And that might change after a while, after you get more comfortable with it. It's all about how you understand it and how well you can coordinate it. Like instead of making another line, yeah. Can you make that any bigger? So you're pretty good with that one. Just draw that across. You ain't got to do. It's going to be inefficient. It's going to end up kind of making some sloppy line. Are you sharing that right now, Lacombe? All right, so you can see the Paleo Hebrew on this stone. Now, again, everybody's penmanship is going to be a little bit different, but the brother was writing on a damn stone. We can give him a little bit mercy on here. And over here, you have the 10 Commandments. This example is going to be hard to read. But I believe there is a there's a website that I think offers clarified view of it. You're getting small again for no reason. Now, what character is that supposed to be? The Zah. Okay, so that wouldn't quite translate. That would look more like a Y. And for the Y, you ain't got to do so much of a turn like that. And because again, this is a script. So if you were to look at it like how it is up there, like it's like a paintbrush had done it. So when you're doing this, you don't need to be as rigid. Just enough, because again, you don't want this to end up being confused with what character is it supposed to be. That. Yeah. So now, to try to not let this get confused with this, like this has got a different element to it that you're not exactly catching. So think of the dot. That's almost like a right angle. I know up there you kind of see here, and then you got that little squiggly there too. There's nothing wrong with it if you can achieve that. That's perfectly all right. But you're looking at the scripts. If you look at the bottom, he's just going like that, like that. Nothing real fancy about it. Now, even the hop right next to it, you're going to see this bit of a curve dropping down there, and then kind of wants to give it that little kick also. That's also not necessary. It can just be a straight line down too. If you can finesse that, cool. But sometimes we get so caught up in trying to make it look picture perfect on there that if you're not used to something like calligraphy, or if you're not very artistic, it's gonna get away from you. It's like a robot. We can't help. You're getting small again. Watch your eyes. I mean, you can invite them into class, but that what did he already leave them? Getting small again, brother. You know, instead of looking up, 'cause I don't know what angle some of these you're looking at. Here it is. Let that out. So you're trying to be so literal with some of these from how you see it up there that you drew this. Where are you seeing this on the paper? It looks that rounded off to you. And this is what I'm saying. That's more or less legible. I kind of knew what you were getting at, but we do want to try to make it more uniform to what we're seeing here. And this is all going to help to smooth out and refine our penmanship. And break up some of the elements of the characters if that'll help you. A little bit better, for example. So for that top, I like to start with that one. That takes care of that arm. I'll break it up into a couple different parts if I need to. If you can get away with doing it, if you can finesse it, if you can make that smooth and legible with one pen stroke, fine. But if you are struggling a little bit with trying to outline the whole shape and get everything picture perfect, then try to break it up a little bit. At the end of the day, it's going to be whatever works for you, but what works for you has to be legible to everybody else. Slack your children. Yes, he is. So you're missing one character in that beginning part. Now that looks just like the Y. Are you going for another Y? So for the Za, that actually got like, it doesn't, like, even if you look at the paper, whether you look at the paper or you look at right here, it doesn't go like this. It doesn't go like this. It's got like a different heading to it. And then it's got that. So again, whatever's gonna end up working for you, but it's got to be legend. Which is why practice, repetition, repetition, repetition. Not what? It's even at an angle, kind of sloped down. Like if you look at the handwritten version over here, that's a little bit more exaggerated than the print. But again, you're almost trying to copy what I did, but you don't have the coordination. This is no knock against you. There we go. Now that's a little bit better. I can definitely tell that that's going to be the side. But I also just want to make sure that your height and your width are going to be cohesive to the rest of the outfit, because this is going to be a thin profile, similar to the Y. It's not going to be as wide as the rest of the guys. And this should be a little wider than some too, just to make sure that doesn't get confused with some of the other characters. What are we doing now? What are we doing now? We can practice on this later. Why is it so short? Yeah. You got to move forward here. So we're going to work on it. All right, Zach, keep going. Repetition, repetition, repetition. It's going to pay off in the long run. Everybody's penmanship is going to be different. That's why we're going to work on this together in a group, so we can kind of compare each other's handwriting to it. So now, that doesn't make sense to what you got on paper. Unless, again, you're just scaling everything down and everything's just getting tiny again. That ka is going to be, your ka here, that's going to be kind of big. It's gonna be as wide as the rest of the characters. It's gonna be taller than the rest of the characters. If you write that the way that you got it, and if you were to keep that going, there's gonna be no difference between that and the 9, between that and the Y. All those are gonna look the same if you're trying to write it out. I don't know. Maybe you're having a hard time understanding of maybe the dimensions. Maybe that part is kind of catching you up a little bit. The relation in between the different forms of the characters. None of that's in there. Again, break it up in a little, different. And you're so close to everything else. You got plenty of room, bro. A little bit slower. At the top part, you're exaggerating way too much. Now, again, even the way that they're doing it here, that's a bit of an exaggeration of what's going on up here. And you got to do that. There's no curve in it. There's no curve in it. Even on this one. You got to do that. Give yourself room. That's better. It's a lot better. That's better. It's definitely better. Instead of coming around so round and crisp and then coming down like a question mark, there you go. There you go. That's better. Now again, it's gonna start off higher than the rest of the characters, but it's gonna end at the same height, at the same base as the rest of the characters, minus this guy, because this should be elongated. But again, we're gonna work on all that. But that's much better. A lot smoother, a lot more relaxed looking, not as rigid. And we might start off, drawing it one way, and then as we get more comfortable with it, the goal is to mature with it, to refine it as we go. So just keep in mind your spacing and dimensions. Those are going to be kind of two of the elements that a lot of people run into the problems with, writing over themselves, not leaving enough room, scaling down. The goal is to try to make everything a uniform, in a uniform size frame. When the brother gets done here, I'll kind of give a couple examples of it after we get everybody else to present there. I mean, you're close here. I can tell what it is. I can tell what I don't like it, but I can tell what it is. I can tell what it is. You're getting it. Again, I think you're improving a lot more from last week. Trooper, you've got a pretty good grasp of all this. Make sure we get some jumbo markers for next week too. And again, with that side, let me see this with that side. Try not to do this. And then add that. Try that. And even come down here and then just practice it a few times. Practice it a few times. If that'll help. And there's no little dip like that. You're just going. That's all you gotta do. Even if you want to try to draw a circle like that, I'll take that until you can kind of level that out a little bit more. Just get comfortable with it. Walk around, like take a whole sheet dedicated just for one letter that you're having trouble with, or one character that you're having trouble with, and fill that whole page up. It is small, but again, you're getting the concept of what I'm trying to explain. You're being able to express that a lot better. We should be on I right now. That was more bizarre. And now again, don't get so caught up with the squigglies. You're writing by hand. And because your penmanship is not like this, don't try to go for this. Work more towards this. There we go. And now, I'm gonna let that go. I'm gonna let that go. But see now, look how small you were here and here, and all of a sudden you're getting big. Like you're coming out of your shell over on this one, but you're all closed in. All on the rest of these, man. You got a lot of room to work, but do this all the time. Have fun with it. You got room. Try it. Make it small. I get it. And again, that's gonna be one of the hard parts with if you're trying to do it in one stroke to keep everything in those same parameters. And that can be a struggle, and that's why we're just gonna keep practicing with it. But that's what I'm saying about the room that you got here, and you could have made everything big. Sometimes that can help, sometimes that can hurt. And I get that part too. But if you were to try to write a letter, your dimensions are going to be all over the place. But like, it's not going to be higher than the rest. It's going to drop below, but you should be starting this. This should occupy that same height, but it is going to come below that line. I'm going to give both of you some graph. You said you got graph paper at home? Reply, y'all. You got any graph paper? All right. Y'all homework assignment for next week is I want you two to, you're gonna take one line of that graph paper. In each one of those tiny itty bitty little boxes, you're going to write one character. And then you're going to go to another line. And instead of just that one box, you're going to do a 4x4 box. You're going to outline it. I'll show you guys what I'm talking about, how to do this later on. But I want to get y'all used to matching the dimensions and keeping everything consistent. Because again, if you were to try to write the letter, if you were going to write the scrolls, or if you're going to write a prayer to somebody, it's going to look all over the place. It's going to look like two different minds were writing in it almost. Because you're going to see how some of these are, you keep some of them uniform and kind of close knit in its proximity, but then some of these other ones get away from you. And then you're not catching the concept, or you're not grasping really the details, the elements of some of the characters and how to express it. Like that looks just like, I would say that's just a regular American R. That's just a regular English R. That doesn't look like an Assyrian Hebrew quad. It wouldn't come down really to that end. Like that leg, it wouldn't come down like at an angle like that. You can see on here, and like that barely has that kick. This kind of comes out. Again, you're in the ballpark, I get it, but yeah, as long as you can kind of tighten that up, not so long, that's definitely better. And now, that's where we're coming to one of the problems. How you got that sharp angle right here, you're not gonna be able to tell that different from the da, from the ka, from the ha. That one's gonna have, it's gonna be rounded off more like this. But like one thing too that we're gonna work on is instead of so hooked over like that, let me see the mark. Instead of having so hooked over like this, just coming straight across and then curved it down. That rock is gonna have that curve. It's gonna look like that, but it's gonna have a curved edge here versus that sharp kind of 90-degree corner right there. And those are going to be some of the characteristics that we're going to be looking for and that you're going to want to hunt down when you're reading the Torah. That's why you're going to want to make those little subtle distinctions. Because when you see some of these characters right next to each other, side by side in a word, that could confuse you. And especially if you're reading somebody else's handwriting. Now that should have kind of a little bend to that leg. So everything else is looking good on there. At the end, it should have that little kick at the end. Little foot on that leg. Yeah. All right, clap it up for the brother. Yeah, cool. Now, if you be so kind, recite what you wrote for the good people at home. And remember, instead of so sharp of an the Z in the paleo, the Z. I just want to see how much you have remembered. Yeah. Yeah, I know. Good. Need the paper, good. Use the paper. Next week, though, I want to see you do this without the paper. All right, clap it up. Clap it up. Take this off the board, please. If you could get the young man, if they are ready to present, who's all ready to present? The young man O's house, Sioux Falls, about to say St. Louis, Sioux Falls, who's all ready to present?
You will? Speak, talking. I'm ready. To New York. This is young man Obi.
All right, go ahead.
Sure.
Okay. All right, I see what you're doing, brother. I like how you line all that up. That helps keep you in those parameters. All right, well done. Now, if you could recite it.
Abba ga da ha wa za cha.
Now, Salaki, it's not going to be cha.
Abba.
Hold on one second, brother.
Wait. Stop playing food.
This is going to be We have Captain Cesar Yak, and we have Captain Kaptazai. Almost like you're saying yuck. Yeah. And so, like, I hate associating that guttural sound with the good captain's name, but to get the hang of this character, it's gonna sound like a rough H mixed in with a rough K. Practice that a little bit.
Huh. Okay. Huh.
Almost like about
Huh.
Huh.
Ka. Ka.
A little more. I don't want to say a little bit more phlegm. A little more maybe back of the throat. Huh. Because you're not saying K, you're not saying ka, but you're also not just gurgling while you're saying. Give it another shot.
Ka. Ka.
We're working on a little bit more, maybe not as sharp, a little bit more subtle. Ka. Ka. It's gonna be more like an H. I hear more of a K and how you pronounce it right now, but again, we're gonna work on this. Repetition, but it's more of a harder H sound. Ka. 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 So we can work on. We can continue with the alphabet, brother.
A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, ya, ka, slow down. La, ma, na, sa,
I. And that's what's going to be I. And that's still going to be not as sharp as how we would pronounce I or the letter I, like I am. But you're almost going to be pronouncing like I. Because again, we don't have vowels in our language. So they try to categorize like the I and the I is a vowel.
You get that one.
But the pronunciation, it goes pretty much in tow with the theme that you're seeing with all the other characters. Ga, da, ha, wa, za, ka, ta, I. It's going to have that kind of quality to it. I. So not just as sharp as like I, E-Y-E, but try to incorporate the into it. I. That can be I. I don't want to make it too dramatic or confusing, but it's not going to be just as sharp as I. If that makes sense.
Con, another one. Pa, ta, za, qua, ra, sha, sa.
Clap it up. Rick's next ready to present.
Yeah. This is Shanae.
Oh, yeah,
This is Shanae. This is
make sure it's good.
mine.
Okay, I see that at the same concept. The brother, as far as trying to line them up. But it looks like it's like you started from the bottom, kind of had it flipped in the opposite order. So your those should be on the top line. And then as it follows, if you end up needing to make 2 lines, the rest of them should be on the second line on the bottom line. Your penmanship looks nice. Everything looks pretty consistent here. You got a couple of them that look like they got wide on them. Just so that we're clear. And correct me if I'm wrong. You can bring the paper back if you like. Just want to make sure we're clear on this. You got that straight line on your paper. It almost looks like you got two lines going like that. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
Another one.
We wanna for the Tazan. Yeah, straight line. Those two lines essentially are still going to be there, but you're just going to have that diagonal connected. So you're gonna kind of have that Z. And then again, next time you practice this out, make sure that you're having it. Just make sure that you present it in the right order where you have. You're starting off with your Baga on the top line, or at the beginning, because you got those kind of. And just to go in the right order, from the right to the left, that's how we write today. But this would be the start of it, so you want to make sure that can be at the top.
You understand what he's telling me?
But the penmanship looks good. Everything looks pretty clear on there. Everything is very legible. Now, if you could recite it, please.
Another one. A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa,
Ha.
za.
Ha. Abagada. Ha.
Ha.
Speak up.
That's like it's what's what I was here.
Wa, za, cha.
Now, were you going for a cha also? All right. So the same part that we were working on with the brother, it's going to be more of a hard H. Ha. Like the word yuck. At the end of it, yeah. I guess everybody might pronounce that a little bit different too. But I guess the best purchase that I can offer is our Captain Qadash's name. So Qadash, using the English, it's just the two characters. But here you get the full pronunciation of that character. Ha, 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 ha. Almost like I don't know if you were laughing at somebody, but rough. Ha, ha. It's not just a straight up ha H-A, and it's not a straight up ha K-A. You got to find that ugly kind of guttural happy medium place where you're kind of mixing some of those elements together, and you get the expression of ha, ha. It's going to come from the back of the throat. Ha, ha. If anybody's ever tried to hop a loop and you had to pull up some phlegm from the back, you're pulling it from the back of the throat and ejecting it forward. That's going to be a similar kind of expression with this, because that ha is going to come from the back. Ha, 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 ha. And take some time around the house. You're kicking it, washing the dishes, doing your chores, picking on your little brother or sister, something like that. Ha, 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 ha. Play around with it. But just so everybody can kind of get to the practice of that guttural, hard H sound. Keep going.
Ta, ya, ka, la, ma, ya, sa, I, pa, taza, kwa, ra, sha, da.
I clap it up. All right. Whoever is running next to present.
Young man O, Rapid City, South Dakota. Salakia, I made that same mistake where my I is on the bottom line as well.
Okay.
But I'm gonna keep that in mind. I'm trying to make it where I can get the whole thing in there.
All right, nice and uniform. And see, you was really going for that Ethereum script. All right.
I'm not. I was just. I thought if I made it thicker, it'd be easier for me to get it right. You know.
And if that's a mechanism that will help, by all means, keep that integrated with it. I would ask, like, do you write cursive?
Khan out of one.
All right. And are you familiar with like different fonts? Like
A couple,
are you familiar with the Old English font?
Khan out of one, but I can't write it.
Shit, me neither. And like I used to kind of mess around with calligraphy where you had different you know what a calligraphy set looks like?
Khan out of one, Khan.
So how it's got those different tips and nibs. So that middle script that we see in the Assyrian, that would have been done in old times with calligraphy. So they would have had the right kind of tip to make those thick and thin lines with the same tip without having to change anything out. They just give it a different line weight depending on how they twist it and turn the pen. So that's going to be that middle one. Now, when we're trying to handwrite that, if you want to give it that little extra emphasis and a little extra care to try to mimic those pen strokes, then by all means get with it if that'll help you progress. And as far as the written, the handwritten version of it, is there? I'm not sure if I'm seeing both of them.
I was still working on it.
Oh, okay, my fault. I was gonna say it looks like we're missing a couple characters, but that would explain that too. So now, when we're writing, it's good to just copy what you see on the paper. One thing that I want y'all to do the next time that you go over this is when you're writing the characters that take on a different form, I want you to write them side by side. So the Ka, for example. Can you see this clearly?
Not La'a, but I get the concept. Oh, Khan, I can see it.
Okay. I want you to write them side by side. And this will help kind of give you that gauge on the height. On those height differences. Because again, if you were to look at this in the Torah, with that Ka being at the end of the word, it's going to be slightly longer than the other characters around it. This is even a little exaggerated. It might be a little bit more subtle than what I'm using as an example here. This will help keep you, try to keep the ground, try to keep everything nice and uniform. And so the only ones that change like that, what's like? I'll get into that in a second. We'll let you finish. Like, brother, go ahead.
Khan, I don't want Khan. Oh, want me to read it?
Yeah, go ahead. I'll recite it.
Khan, I don't want Khan. A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa.
There you go.
Ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, taza, ka, ra, sha, tha.
I'm glad it opened. Good.
The last one was said, ka, was it ka or kwa?
I said ka. Is it kwa?
Yeah, for the Q, that is a qua. Salaki, I can't say.
Khan, I don't want Khan. Salaki, that was my mistake.
Now, there's going to be some instances, and again, we'll get into this later, and that's just going to come with experience and just practice down the road. But sometimes that qua, when it's joined with another word or joined with another character, the vowel sound is gonna drop off. You're just gonna left with the consonantal value of it. Let's try this. What's a word? Right now, I can't think of too many that don't give it the full pronunciation. But we do got a brother in school named Barakia the Q. So in his name, the Ba is pronounced by itself, but the Ra and Qua are pronounced together. So the character that gets attached to the previous character, that vowel sound that normally would have been pronounced with it would drop off, and you would just have the consonantal value of it. So instead of a Barak Qua Ya'ala, that ah sound is going to drop off the Qua, and now you're just left with Ra. So sometimes that Qua will take on that hard K sound, but it's going to be, it's going to be circumstantial. It's going to be circumstantial. So you, in a sense, you weren't wrong for it, but for the intents and purposes of the exercise, you would give it that full quality, if you will. You're gonna have to forgive me. Sometimes there's a corny dad joke thrown in there every little blue moon, but try not to put too many. All right, anybody else ready to present? All right, young brother. There we go. Yeah, clap it up for him. It's good work. Get involved. All right, so we got that common theme where we're starting off with the alphabet on the bottom row. But again, it's right now we know. So Abagada Hawa Zatataya. There we go. Kalamanasa. That's all legible. Let's see. With the Assyrian, if you could, brother, hold your paper up a little bit higher into the center of the camera. All right, the water. Thank you. All right, I can make out all the characters more or less. And we're gonna work on these again together. Just to refine it and smoothly get it more comfortable. Clap it up for the brother. If you could pronounce or recite what you have written.
A, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, cha.
No, remember.
Ha.
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 Ah, there you go.
Ya.
Ka.
Ka. La. Ma. Na. Sa. I. Pa. Tra. Taza. Kwa. Ra. Sha. Tha.
I clap it up for the young. Good work. Good.
And Salak, if I could, this is something that's actually very heavy. I want the world to see. You got a young man. This is how we're gonna take our nation back through communication. for a young man to come back and take back his culture is excellent in the Lord's eyes. It's excellent in our eyes. Well done, young warrior.
Good job, Keith. Say the water.
Family like this comes together in this day and age. That's heavy. That's something that you don't get a whole lot. All right, we got one more. All right, no sweat. Let's see. Clap it up for this family, man. Clap it up for Sioux. It's a beautiful thing to see out there. The whole thing is getting work. All right. So to try to illustrate what I'm getting at, if Slacky become, if you could give me the screen. Yeah, all right, so we're catching that glare right in the middle there. All right. If we do it down here. Not too much better. So lock it. All right, there we go. I still need some adjustment. All right, the light. Okay. But I just want everybody to get into the practice of trying to keep everything in a uniform dimensional space. So if you were to take like the sheet of paper that everybody that we all have, how it's got those boxes in there, all these boxes are about the same size. Everything is going to pretty much occupy the same space. Within reason. There's going to be some exceptions to this. The Paleo Hebrew doesn't really change too much like that. Everything is going to be very uniform in that respect of size, the height and the width of everything. They're all going to pretty much occupy the same kind of, square footage, so to speak. The only characters that might change, and again, a lot of this is just going to be subject to that individual's penmanship. But the only ones that are really going to have a height difference like that are the man and not. Now, I express it a little bit different. I exaggerate it a little bit more, but that's just I guess my handwriting background. I got into graffiti a little bit more. So when I started taking to this, I guess it a little bit more natural to me. I was a little bit more freer with it. And even though I started off pretty stringent, trying to make it picture perfect to the print that we were given, just kind of trying to copy and paste everything. After a while, when you get more comfortable with it, you'll let it move a little bit more smooth on paper. So, for example, my name Aman Gabar in the Paleo. Try to get up out of the way. All right, this marker is dying too. But you can see here how the man and not that extra that kind of tail at the bottom, that kind of stretches out a little bit more. Now I got that just because from what I had seen on the Dead Sea Scrolls, that there was a bit more of an accent on that. Similar to how in the Greek, there was a little bit more exaggeration by the handwriter, the author of those scrolls with the lot. I mean, like if I were to do Lashawan, That just comes out a little bit better. But I think a little bit more exaggerated like this with the la. Now, the la is just naturally going to take a higher seat. Not that exaggerated, though. It's going to be shorter. But it is going to start off higher than the rest of the characters. And this is just one example of how the na at the end of the word, it takes down that other form, and that actually drops down below that line. So when you read this in the Torah, and you see this character at the end of it, you're gonna want to make sure there it goes. All right. And you see that character at the end of it, that's going to be a telltale sign on what it is. Because everything else is going to match up with pretty similar heights and widths. But you're going to get to the end of the word and you're going to have something like this. Or the ka. The variation of the ka. Because if you had this next to the da, you're going to see that there's that height difference. But now again, this is only ever going to be at the end of the word. But if we were to take the word barak, for example, and if you're not careful with your penmanship, you're going to get some of these confused. Barak, which means bless in Hebrew. So that ra and the ba, the only thing that makes them different is that underline. That foot at the bottom. That's the only thing that's really making the difference between the ra and the ba. If you're not careful with that height, you might just confuse that with another ra, or you might confuse that with the dot. Another element about these that's going to make that distinction is that corner. If you've got that kind of sharp 90-degree corner, in some of the scripts you might see it. It might have this kind of curve into it. But even if you're just putting these two lines together, you got that sharp right 90-degree right there, that's fine. Because that's going to be a difference than that curved corner right there. Those are going to be some of the elements that we're going to look for when we're writing, especially in the Assyrian, because that's going to be the script that we're reading from in the Torah. We're not reading the Paleo Hebrew in that. But we do have, for example, in when y'all start making scrolls, you're gonna be using the Paleo Hebrew for the scroll work. So now we've got a separate file for that. But this is going to be more, in a sense, this is going to take kind of a priority when it comes down to reading, because this is what we're going to be working with in the Torah. So it's going to be important to understand and recognize these characters, the differences as well as the similarities, and then their position in the word. Again, keeping in mind that this form of the ka only comes in at the end of the word. Its other form, I guess the parent form, if you will, which again is going to be a different height kind of quality. It's going to take this form in the beginning or in the middle of the word. And it's going to take on this form at the end of the word. So just a couple notes on that. What's our time check, Macomb?
8:37.
8:37 o'clock. All right, thank you. All right, so let's get into the salute so that we all know how to greet each other appropriately. So I'll write it first using the English characters just to show us how to pronounce it. So we have Yahweh, which is the Most High's name. So I'm gonna do this in English, and I'm gonna break it down in English. That's what's gonna be easier here. I just want to make sure that y'all save room. But maybe let's just start off. We'll write the pronunciation using the English letters, and then I'll break it down in English underneath. But I want y'all to save more room in between these two, because then I'm going to erase the English breakdown, and then I'm going to write it in the Paleo and the Assyrian. Or if it's easier, if you ain't got enough room on the page, you can always move it over. Whatever's going to be easier for your notes. You don't have to necessarily write down. It's better to just copy what I'm doing, but whatever's going to be easier for your notes, so that I don't want to confuse anybody here. So let's maybe start with not talking so much. All right. So this is the Most High. The Most High. His name in Hebrew is Yahweh. His formal name is Yahweh. And you can see this in Psalms 83. At the end of Psalms 83, when it says, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High over all the earth. Now, that's not the rough translation of Yahweh, but rather more of a title, the Most High. So there's going to be certain things that are synonymous then. If we were to say God, you can use that generic term God, but it is important to make sure that you're making the distinction on what you're talking about. That term God is more for your common folk, layman's term. Just because everybody might not be familiar with the Most High's formal name, that even has a name. They just thought God. For the longest time, I just thought it was God too. I thought God was the actual name of God. I didn't know that God was just a title, was a generic kind of blanket statement, and that the Most High actually held a name. And his formal name is Yahweh. Bahasham, in the name. In the name. Now that translates pretty linear. Ba is going to be in. Ha. The. Sham is name. So now ba and ha, in this case, they're going to be used as the preposition. Or the prefix. Now you got two of them though. This is all going to be pronounced together. You would see this written out as one word. But it's a whole phrase when we actually break it down. Ba'asham, in the name. And just because it's English, and because sometimes you're going to need some of these filler words, in the name of, that's why I just threw in on the parentheses on the left side. There isn't going to really be a direct word for of in the Hebrew. You're going to see instances where we do cover it with a Hebrew word, but again, it's only going to be a part of a name. It's going to be part of the phrase. Yahweh, this is Jesus. Now, if you were to hear somebody say Yahweh Hamashiach, that would be saying Jesus the Christ. But Jesus' name in Hebrew is Yahweh. If you were to make it in Greek, I believe it's pronounced something like Isis. And then you were to change that to English, you get Jesus. If you were to take from the Old Testament Joshua, because that was coming from a Hebrew culture already, whereas Jesus, this translation was coming from a Greek culture, Joshua would translate to Yahweh. It all translates to Yahweh. Jesus and Joshua is the same name. I'm sure you've heard that in some of the classes. There's nothing wrong with the letter J. And again, if you're speaking with general, just civilians out there that might not know the history of the Hebrew name, you can communicate using the word Jesus, using the name Jesus in English. There's nothing wrong with that. You're going to have some people bring up this argument about the letter J. It was only invented, 500 years ago. I can't remember if they said in the 16 or 1700s, something weird like that. Who cares? That's not the letter J. The breakdown, the history, the origin of the letter J is not going to get fentanyl off the streets. It's not going to get brothers and sisters out of prison. It's not going to create rehab facilities. It's not going to create homeless shelters. It's not going to create food drives. Nothing. You can't just open it. So don't let anybody trip you up on that. Jesus is fine. Whatever initial, however the communication might go at first, just to relay the point that you're trying to make across, use it to your advantage. There's nothing wrong with that. Barak is blessed. Barak is blessed. Athab is you. Now that's you singular. If you're just talking to one individual, man or woman, Athab is singular. If you were to make it a thumb, instead of the 8 at the end, you replace that with an AM. That's going to be you plural. That clears up. Okay. So Athab, Slaki, and one more caveat on that. Plural, masculine. A thumb is going to be plural, masculine. A tha is neutral, singular. A thumb is going to be plural, masculine, because in this case, with the M at the end of it, you're talking to men. So that's going to be you're talking to men. So in that case, not only is the quality of the word masculine, but you're addressing men. You're going to find that kind of theme with a lot of other words too, where technically the word would be a masculine or feminine word, but it's not always going to be talking about gender, like physical gender. But sometimes that word might be in a submissive form. It might be a submissive form of the word. But you're going to see different instances where the word might be masculine or feminine, but that has nothing to do with gender. But you're going to also see the instances in this case where if you're addressing men, you use this masculine plural form of it. Thug, again, that's just going to be neutral. That's not feminine or masculine. You're just speaking to just one person. So now I'm going to write this out in the Paleo and the Assyrian. We're going to see how much room we got here. If you can't see anything, if you need me to write it bigger, or if we have to erase all this, maybe that's what we'll do. We'll erase some of this just to give some room. But keep it in mind that we read and write going from the right to the left. So I'm not going to write these in the same order that you might expect it. Like, I'm not going to start over here and write the Hebrew from the right to the left for Yahushua. Yahushua is going to be down here from the right to the left. Let's get this. Okay, we can see that so far. Now you're going to notice these markings underneath. When we write the paleo, we use these to help identify pronunciation. When you see an upside down arch, that means that character that is underneath gets pronounced by itself. If you see, I guess that is up for an arch, wouldn't it? If you see the smiley face arch, we can call that the frown, call that the smiley face. I don't know, however, whatever's going to be easy for people to identify and tell the difference. But when you see the upside right arch, it's going to be connecting two characters together. So that means that's that following character, that last character, because it's not always going to be at the end of the word either, but that following character, the vowel sound drops off from the end of it, and the consonantal value gets attached to the previous character. So now in the Most High's name, Yahweh, there's 4 characters expressed. There's 4 characters written here. But you're not going to pronounce it Yahweh, because that H is connected to the Y. Connected to the Y. So that ah sound from the H would drop off, and you get kind of a breath at the end of it with the H, with the ha. Normally, when that vowel sound drops off at a ha, and that ha is attached to another character, the vowel sound drops off, and you just kind of give. It's really just like a breath at the end of it. Ha. Yahweh. Yahweh. Very subtle, almost like a silent character, silent word, silent letter. But especially when you're writing it, it's still very important to include it, because that can completely change the meaning, the context, the delivery, all that. This marker is about to go. So we got Yahweh, Ba-ha-sham. And again, that ma connected to the sha. So the vowel sound will drop off, and you just got the consonantal value connected to the previous character. Bahasham. So I'm not too far away. Yahawashai. That I, again, it's not really accompanied by any other so-called vowel sound. So you're going to pronounce that fully in any case. The I is always going to be pronounced I. There's no shortening of it. Whereas the rest of the characters, they do lose, one of those elements. So Yahawashai, Barak. So instead of Baraka, Barak, Atha. So now this is that singular form, that you singular, and then over here, this to give you the variation, Atham. That's to be the masculine plural. So now you see here, in both cases, the A is pronounced by itself. The Tha and the Thumb are connected. So they would get pronounced together. Now underneath that, I'm going to write it with the Assyrian. So y'all can see my handwriting a little bit too. And so like this marker is about on its last leg. That dot in the middle. Shout out to pizza. Shout out to pizza. Pizza to the vlog. Pizza to the vlog and we'll watch. I don't know what Sioux Falls pizza is like. If y'all ever get the chance to come join us up here, man, we got you covered. If anybody likes corned beef sandwiches, I know the best Reuben probably in, if not the Midwest, at least, if it's not the best Reuben sandwich in the Midwest United States, it's at least probably the best Reuben sandwich in the Western Hemisphere, at least. Let me get about y'all way. So now up here with the Yah, somebody might be asking themselves, why is there a step right there? Somebody might be asking themselves, well, what the heck is this? In the Assyrian, that's the Yah. Now, if you look at your sheet of paper, again, mine might be a little bit exaggerated. Everybody's penmanship is going to be a little bit different. But it does just kind of look like a comma. It's not, it doesn't stand out really, especially when it gets, in the midst of all these other characters and letters. And it's like we normally do not use the word, letter with these. These are letters. These are just empty letters. These are characters because they have character. They have different meanings behind it, different contexts, different applications to it. If you were to ask your English teacher in school right now, what does the letter K mean? She ain't going to tell you. Or he. They're not going to have an answer. But if you were to ask us, what's the Ka mean in Hebrew, we got a whole breakdown for that. Like this, the The Paleo Hebrew is a pictographic language. That means that these characters are representations of real world concepts. So that ka, that's the palm of your hand. And those two lines, it's the palm of your hand. The ah, that's an ox head or a bull head. It's on its side though. So imagine these two are the ears, those are the horns, that's the face. The thigh, X marks the spot. The thigh means like to mark something, a symbol. The same concept as X marks the spot. That's what the thigh is. The ha, that's the hand. It's a depiction of a hand, like was a hand like extending out or like trying to, I don't want to say trying to grab, but slack, my fault. It's a picture. It was a picture of the hands up. And then like praising, behold, kind of an expression. These all have a concept behind it. It's not just a couple of squiggly marks on a page, or as you saw in one of those examples, on a stone. There's context for it. There's application to it. They all can carry a different meaning to it. And when you start mixing and matching the different combinations, each word might even have a different context or application to it, let alone just the individual characters. And again, we're going to learn more about this together when we're studying the Lashawan Qadash every Friday, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time here in Milwaukee. You can look at backdated Lashawan Qadash courses from probably a decade ago by now, depending on what zone might have the older records. When I first came into the school, General Kabbalah Mak was teaching the Lashawan Qadash classes on YouTube that we would all tune into. Similar to an experience like this that we're sharing. And that was about 10 years ago. He was breaking down Ruth, was the first class that I sat in with the man. He was breaking down Ruth. So this is how brothers salute each other. Let's make that distinction too. This is how brothers salute each other. Real quick, we'll also get how sisters would salute each other. This is how brothers salute each other, and then how brothers would salute a sister is what we'll get into next, and how a sister would salute the brothers. So if y'all could, if everybody's done with this portion of it, just come off mic, let me know that we're ready to continue, or if you need a little bit more time.
Salakia Adawan. It's just kind of hard to see it, but I was able to kind of copy it, and I'm just having them copy it from me. I got the Paleo, but I couldn't get the Assyrian.
No, let me see yours. Let me see what. All right. So let's say you're following pretty good there. All right. So the only thing that's not clear is the Assyrian.
Khan Adawan, it's just the brightness. We can't see the characters for real.
And that's partially my fault too, for I think the marker. It's really about to crap out on this. So let's put a pin in this, and then we'll pick it back up for next week. So we'll get a fresh for you. I'll see if we can't do something about the lighting, but at least with a fresh set of markers, it might be a little bit more vibrant on board. So we'll pick up there. We'll give you the Assyrian, and then we'll jump back into the salute from the sisters. And it's like to come. Salakia. All right, so we'll put a pin in it. We'll get back to that next week. Good first class from everybody. I think this is going to be fun. We're going to have a good time. If you tell the Russian applause, Sioux Falls in the building, Milwaukee in the building. Join us next Friday, 7 p.m. Atonement coming up on the 30th. So this upcoming Tuesday, starting at sundown at 7 p.m., is going to be the Day of Atonement. This is going to be a 24-hour fast. So from on the 30th at Tuesday night at sundown, if you want to just cut across it. Okay, you ain't teaching. You want to use the headphones as such. It's going to be a 24-hour period of fasting. No food, no beverages. So no water, no little snacks in between, no brushing your teeth and then loading up the toothbrush with a bunch of water and then, trying to slurp that down at night. Don't cheat yourself. This is a day to afflict your soul, to help discipline your body, to not be so reliant and dependent on the carnal world, on food, on sustenance. What the scripture says, man can't live on bread alone. We need to learn how to discipline ourselves. We need to know how, when we ain't got some shit, how to be sensible, how to have our wits about us, how to not break down, how to not get emotional, how to not crash out on somebody just because we're a little bit hungry. You got kids right now in America, in our cities, that probably ain't gonna eat tonight, whose parents ain't gonna eat tonight. And that's an affliction from our oppression. And when things get bad, and as we prepare for Yahweh's return with the culmination of the Third World War, you're going to see a scarcity of food. It's going to be hard to get some of them resources. You're going to need to know how you're going to react to them situations. And things like this help us prepare for that. And even if it's something like, because this can also help in preparation for other things that you might want to fast from. Fasting from TV for a while. Fasting from the internet, from your game systems. Fasting from anything that could distract you, be a potential hazard in your life. Anything that might separate you from the Most High. Even between men and women sometimes, you need that separation. Even between brothers and sisters sometimes, you need that little bit of separation. Sometimes you need that little bit of separation between you and junk food. You and social media. And this helps us prepare for that. So now, for the young men and women here in your house, brother, at your discretion, if you think your children are physically and mentally, but more so physically, capable of going a full 24 hours without food or water, I don't know how old everybody is in there, but the three on your right side, they look pretty young. So for them, I probably, oh, you got another one right underneath your leg too. How old is that boy? Yeah. They're coming out the woodworks. How many you got that?
Salaki, I I got 6. This one is 4. This is my young man, Badiah.
The Lord wants you to have kids, 6 more, and then you're probably going to.
Khan, I said the same thing. Right, I ain't done.
So for you and your son, the other brother in all black now, for you two, this is kind of expected. Full 24-hour period. You're gonna know what you need. I won't know. You ain't gotta tell me about it either. You're gonna know. That's gonna be between you and the Most High. And whatever angels are out there spying, sending those reports back up. That's also gonna give these reports to Captain Barman. You know what I'm saying? So don't short yourself, and you'll be doing yourself a disservice because there's gonna be a shame that comes with you breaking that off. You might start off very zealous and full of momentum and zeal for it, but something might trip you up. You might have a bad day. If you're able to, also on that Tuesday going into that Wednesday, if you can take that day off, if you work during the day, you don't have to work at night. Then you ain't got to sweat Tuesday. But Tuesday, if you're able to, or Wednesday, I should say, if you're able to get off of work that Wednesday, I would do it, especially if it's your first time doing something like this. Because depending on your kind of job too, if it's a physical, laborious job, you don't want to be stuck out there with no water. It's still pretty warm outside too. And good. All right, both sign correct. I said that for the sister. If this is something that It's a challenge. Then it's like let me put this more clear. This is the high holy day. This is a holy convocation that we are expected to honor and observe. Now, for the young men, for elderly, for a pregnant sister, they would not be expected to hold this up just because of the physical limitations that may present themselves. Anybody who's on medication that needs to consume beverage or food with that medication, they wouldn't be expected to hold this up either. You got the rest of us to do it for you too. We'll afflict our souls on your behalf. So for anybody in your household that you feel is, and if you need counseling on it, if you're not sure, you want to get counsel, you got your connect with Kamyala that you can call, and you can get he'll help guide you through that. But anybody you feel is in your household that is mature enough physically first and healthy enough physically to go that full 24-hour period, then on Tuesday, right before 7 o'clock. You can join us live too. We're going to have a big feast. We're going to eat good. We're going to make sure that we're hydrated that night before. That's going to be very important. Hydrate. You want to make sure that you can't stress that enough. Hydrate on Tuesday night before that feast cuts in. Who's ever making that sound with the cup can stop. Yeah, you play too much. We got little people around here too. So yeah, sometimes we got fast from nieces and nephews. But it's important to hydrate. You want to get a good healthy meal in y'all. So you don't want to run through McDonald's fast food on Tuesday night, filling yourself up with junk that you're gonna feel like crap for. That's gonna make you beg for some nutrition, that next day. Fill yourself up with something healthy. Keep hydrated, and then Wednesday night at 7 p.m. when we're ready to break that fast, we're gonna have another feast together. Yeah, I'm gonna throw something at you. I love you. I'm gonna throw something at you, though, kid. Stop sipping on the cup like that. I love you. I throw stuff at you. I'm gonna throw you at stuff. One of the two's happening. On that Wednesday too, when we get ready to break the fast, we're also gonna gather together. We're gonna have another feast afterwards too, and we can share experiences. You can talk about what was hard for you, if it was easy for you, if it was a breeze. We got some young men here in their early teens that have done this before, and again, everybody's circumstance is gonna be a little bit different, but we go through this together. Monday, get ready for General Kathumgabar. He's gonna be breaking down the book of Matthew. What are we on 15? Monday. Make sure you tune into that Monday's class too. Well, is it 15 or 15? All right, so General Kathumgabar will be breaking down Matthew 15. Again, Monday through Friday. I believe you know the class schedule already. Monday through Friday, 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. We got classes. Join us as always, as you guys have been so diligently doing too. Give yourselves another round of applause for tuning in every Saturday morning during the Sabbath service. Y'all are picking up steam like a locomotive, man. Rock on with it. So with that, we'll let y'all be. So a salute out to the brothers, men of Israel, Amagim, which means stand. Man of Israel. Yeah. You can stay seated for this one. All right. So Amagim, which means stand. Amagim Shabbat is with your arms behind your back, your fists connected. You take a stance. Amagim Shabbat. Amagim, let's come back here. Barak. And we're going to give that salute that we just worked on. Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, Barak, a thumb. We're going to use a thumb because we're speaking to a large group of men here. That's right. And you would look around. You would take that time kind of look around because you're saluting the other brothers in your household too. I'm saluting y'all on the class and the camera. I'm saluting the brothers that are in the room as well. So I'm speaking to all of y'all. Yad Matah, which means hands down. So now we return to the sisters. At this point, sisters, Amagi, which means stand. Men of Israel, Sar, which means turn to the sisters. Men of Israel, Amagi Shabbat. Sisters, the sisters can stand.
Like,
yep.
also want to have hands
The water for the correction, slack it. So for the sister would normally stand with their feet together, head slightly bent forward. Your right hand is going to be interlocked with your left hand. Your right hand on top, your left hand underneath. Yep. And then just at about your chest height. All right, so we're already here. Amayim, Barak. Now everybody can repeat after me. This is the salute for the sisters. Now we're going to go from the men to the sisters, and then the sisters can repeat it back to the men. So for right now, just the brothers repeat after me. Yahweh, Shamar, I'el, Athan, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Now the sisters repeat it back. Yahweh, Shamar, I'el, Athan, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. Now what the sisters had said is the Most High watch over you in the name of Yahweh Shai. Yah Matah, hands down. Pastor Smith. Friday. Hey, Qadash, give me your money. Such a little dude right there. I know you're hiding out.
Ooh, 27 Club.
All right, gang, let's really nail it this time. Here we go. A 1, a 2, a 1, 2, 3, 4. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this Isupk ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Been in this shit for some years, I ain't never left. Nigga try to save his life like he's scared of death. I got Hillstar on my body, bitch, I'm heaven sent. Hey, this Isupk ain't nothing, we on fellowship. Florida Lee on my top, this a Saints hat. This the third can't be been in, he a J-Cat. Nigga tryna steal the sauce, yeah, I hate that. But I ain't make the rules, I can't change that. New bottle, new wine, yeah, I can't crack. Look, flag on the play, they grabbing face masks. Niggas always saving hoes where your cape at. The only killer that you know without no face tag. Hell yeah, my bitch bad, Proverbs 31, yeah. This is not a drill, I be 30'd up, yeah. He about to crack the sky, you better hurry up. It's all bad when you see us hang that jersey up. It's mad brick, I got the blick with my cover on. He a fed, he a op, got his cover blown. Look, I'm really outside without no scully on. It's one West, bitch, I'm on with my brothers on. He got ranked, then he left, he broke another oath. I got the plate, we about to take another zone. They was sleeping on a team, now they comatose. Left his brother out to dry, I guess he